You know Italy very well, right?
Huh?
You know Italy very well,
I
right?
have an enormous admiration for this lady.
Situations with both climate and COVID. A year later, how much has
The relationship between China and the United States is today totally dysfunctional. Since the beginning, when I talk with our American friends and our Chinese friends, I've been saying, look, you have different systems, you have different perspectives in various areas. There are inevitably areas where there will be confrontation. It's the case of human rights. It's the case of some geostrategic problems, namely the South China Sea. There are areas where I believe there is convergence of interests, and there must be strong cooperation, climate. And there are areas where a serious negotiation is needed, trade and technology, if we want to avoid that the world becomes separated in two economies with two sets of rules, two internets, two strategies in artificial intelligence, and then, of course, based on that, sooner or later, two military and geopolitical strategies with all the dangers that that represents. So, an area of confrontation, an area of cooperation, an area of serious negotiation, because there are complex problems on the table, both in trade and technology. Unfortunately, today, we only have confrontation. We need to reestablish a functional relationship between the two powers. Independently of this or that treaty, this or that decision, I think we need to avoid at all costs a Cold War that would be different from the past one, and probably more dangerous and more difficult to manage. We need a very solid cooperation between the US and the UN, and it's a great pleasure to be with
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
I have to say the United Nations has tremendous potential.
The Biden administration has taken a number of important decisions in relation to World Health Organization, in relation to UNRWA, the Palestinian Support Agency, in relation to climate, probably the most important of them all, and has reaffirmed a commitment of the United States to multilateral institutions. That is, of course, a completely different environment in the relations between the two countries. I did everything, and I'm proud of it, in order to make sure that we would keep a functional relationship with the United States in the past administration, and we relate with the country. But of course, the situation today is very different from what it was. And sometimes there are false expectations about what the UN can do. We had many countries that had hundreds of thousands of soldiers in Afghanistan, that spent trillions of dollars and other currencies in Afghanistan, and that were not able to solve the problems of Afghanistan, as we know. And to think that now the UN will be able all of a sudden to produce an inclusive government, to guarantee that all human rights are respected, to guarantee that no terrorists will ever exist in Afghanistan, that drug trafficking will stop. I mean, this is a fantasy. I mean, the UN has limited capacity and limited leverage. But the UN can play an important role, and we are playing it. I believe it is our duty to lead the process of humanitarian support to the Afghan people.